All right, guys, you're here with Josh Thomson. I'm going to give you my quick feed on and my punk's opinion on the thing that just got announced right now, the Bellator Welterweight, basically Grand Prix, and the people that are in it. So let's talk Douglas Lima, Korshkov, Paul Daly, Michael Venom Page, which everyone was telling me, yeah, he's never fought anyone tough. He's never going to get through this, da-da-da-da-da. Like, you know, and give him somebody who has a name or a record. Blah, blah, blah. Well, guess what? He's in this tournament, and I'm excited, man. I'm so amped to see him, see how far he gets, and see if his style works, man. And there's so much talk and criticism about his style. What would he do against someone who's talented? What would he do against someone at a different level? Man, you know, John Fitch is in it. Lorenz Larkin, Brennan Ward, Michael Chandler, who has expressed willingness to fight at the welterweight before. I highly doubt he's going to jump in this tournament. I mean, just my 2 cents is I don't see him fighting in this tournament. I don't even know if I just don't see him fighting in this tournament. It doesn't make. I don't think it makes any sense for him unless he gets a new contract, new negotiations. I don't think. I think also too would be it's a lot. Let me just give you an example. Benson Henderson came from the UFC, basically considered the top 3 lightweight in the world, was beating welterweights in the UFC, came to Bellator, fought Korshkov for the title, and as much as I respect and admire him for Benson for doing this and stepping up and fighting and trying to get that title right away at 170, he got destroyed. It was a nasty fight. Korshkov just walked right through him. It was like, and no disrespect to Ben at all. I fought Ben, a talented guy, and a lot of respect to him. But man, it was just not a good fight for Benson Henderson. Size truly did matter. Michael Chandler is smaller than Ben. Maybe not like so much weight wise, but shorter, stockier, a better wrestler. But you're just, I think if you actually go back and watch the Ben and Chandler fight, Chandler fights with a lot of, intensity, and he tends to get tired. And you do that against a bigger guy, you're going to get knocked out. So I don't see him taking this. I don't see him fighting in the welterweight division. I don't think there's any chance he does that. And we'll see, man. Given that Rory, I'm not sure if Rory will be in this tournament or not because he's fighting Gegard Mousasi in the first true super fight that I've ever heard of being put together. After all the talk and conversation, it was quick and easy. They just basically walked into the room, looked each other in the face, said, okay, like I'll sign on the dotted line, you sign on the dotted line, and contract was signed. So now you've got Gegard Mousasi fighting Rory McDonald at 185 for the 185-pound title in Bellator, which is great. But this welterweight tournament is huge, man. I mean, I think if they're going to do basically one tournament all year, broken up throughout the year, it's a great idea. And if you have 1 or 2 guys that are alternates, it's going to be amazing. I mean, like you just start building. This is different. This is way better and way different than the old Bellator. I like this style of tournament format. And not to mention, you're putting these guys at the forefront of you're putting the spotlight on them. You're getting everyone to tune in to watch their specific fighter that they really truly want to watch win the tournament. So even if you're not someone who enjoys watching one specific fighter, they might be fighting somebody that you enjoy watching. So you end up with something like that. Like for me, I would love to see a Brennan Ward and John Fitch fight. Lorenz Larkin versus, what's it called? Michael Venom Page. A Chandler and Korshkov would be good. A Lima and whoever, a Lima and anybody would be amazing, man. I love watching that guy fight. He's just a scrapper. And I think that'd be a great fight. So, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I've always said this. Guys like Michael Venom Page, I feel like a guy with a good leg kick, like a Douglas Lima, would be able to slow him down and let things go and basically get him where he wants. Like basically with a nice low-level leg kick or a leg kick, would be able to slow him down, slow his movement down, and be able to get in there and get to the takedown or be able to press him against the fence and get into some dirty boxing. Maybe that's the fight you make right off the first one. But I would just hate to see one of those guys go in the first round.
Do you think you should put Dylan Dennis in it this early, in his career?
No.
But what about for hype and for entertainment?
No. You're ruining the guy's career before it even starts. And I'm not a big Dylan Dennis fan, but I believe he potentially could be something good if you give him some more time. It's no different than what the UFC did for Conor. They gave him a bunch of guys that he could beat, and then they finally gave him someone tough in Dustin Poirier, and he delivered. But his confidence level was at an all-time high because he was beating all these guys, the guys that at the time were considered very good. So he was beating them, and then when he got to the top, his confidence level is a different level. He felt comfortable and acclimated to the octagon in the UFC, and he just was able to let it rip. And he's a guy that definitely I feel like is outpunted the coverage. He's the guy that they gave the keys to and they gave the opportunity to, and he ran with it and did a great job, man. Conor McGregor is a rarity. I think people think that it's going to happen up for everyone. But if you do something like that to Dylan Donis, it'll ruin his career. He's done. He'll be done after that. Like, guys, no one will tune in to watch him fight. You got to let him progress a little bit more and get more familiar with the stand up. There's no talk or conversation about how bad his grappling is. His grappling is phenomenal, man. He's probably, I'd say, maybe the best grappler in MMA right out to date. So, besides Jake Shields, so. Yeah, I don't know. And Damian Maia, Jake Shields, and then Dylan Donis.
Do you think Jake Shields is going to come over?
I don't know. I think isn't he in that PFL tournament?
I don't think so.
But I think the relationship, I can't say there's not a bad relationship, but the relationship that Strikeforce had with Jake when he ended up leaving and going to the UFC, now that's still with Scott Coker, and Scott is the promoter at Bellator, and I'm not sure if that relationship was strained or if anything had happened when Jake had left for the UFC from Strikeforce. I don't know if that hinders any chances of him ever coming back, so I don't know those details. I've never actually sat down and talked with Scott about it, but I would
PFL July
yeah,
5th.
That's what I thought. Yeah, Jake's nasty, man. He's so good on the ground. It's insane how good he is. Yeah, I really, to be honest, this is even something like with Brent Primus. If Brent Primus was smart, he would try to get into this thing because he's huge. He has a hard time making the weight at 155 right now as it is. He's injured all the time. He's hurt all the time. Why not try fighting at 170? He's a big guy, man. I was so surprised how big he was when I saw him weigh in against Michael Chandler at the fights. I was like, holy shit, this guy's fucking enormous. So that's something maybe they could write in. I don't see Chandler joining this group of guys at all whatsoever. I think it's a lot of talk. Another guy just trying to basically put his 2 cents in and keep the willingness there. Remember, he's coming up. I think he did come up, or he is coming up on his contract negotiation. So why not throw that out there and say like, oh hey, yeah, I'd be willing to fight at welterweight. But then in reality, like when the time comes, I had him losing to Benson, but then it was a great fight. Could have went either way. I'm just being honest right now. It could have went either way, but I had been winning, and not by a wide margin or anything like that. It was really, I saw it being a split decision like I think everybody else did. But yeah, we saw what Korshkov did to Ben, and I could see that happening to Chandler, especially as the fight goes on and Chandler starts to get tired. Plus he's going to have to use a lot more strength and a lot more explosiveness throughout the whole fight to keep a fucking animal like Korshkov or Lima or Brendan Ward off of him, man. That's going to be nasty. So I'd love to see those. I'm excited. A whole nother year of tournament fights, to headline some, the major cards, and I think that Bellator's heading in the right direction. You do something like this where there's a ton of hype around guys like Rory McDonald, ton of hype around guys like Gegard Mousasi, tons of hype around, these other guys and that they're building around their promotion, man. I'm excited for it. It's going to be great. So that's just my opinion on this whole thing with the Bellator Welterweight Tournament Grand Prix, which is starting, what does it say when it's starting? I want to say it's in February, right?
There's no date.
Yeah.
This tournament will reportedly kick off September 29th.
Oh, I don't know if that's when it kicks off or if that's when they're announcing or
on the same night, welterweight champ Rory McDonald will battle Gegard Mousasi.
They're gonna kick off the welterweight tournament that night.
McDonald will be part of the Grand Prix, but will only join once his battle with Mousasi has come to pass.
Wow.
So that's the.
Well, that'll be good, man. I wonder who's gonna be the first fight of that night. Maybe 2 fights. They'll probably have 2 fights on that night. That'll be exciting, man. I'm excited for that. I can't wait for the semifinals of the Grand Prix, the heavyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you have Chael Sonnen and Fedor, and then you've got Matt Mitrione and Ryan Bader, man. That's going to be amazing. So those fights, I think, are supposedly happening like in October sometime, is from what I understand. I don't know when. No release on that yet. You know, I heard the announcement's coming soon, but I don't know how soon. But that's just my opinion on all these. That's my opinion on the Bellator Welterweight Grand Prix, which is coming. It sounds like starting September. So September 29th, probably in San Jose, because that's going to be an amazing card already.